Welcome to Sexy Mom Abundant Life with best-selling author and coach Kathy Williams, a show to help you tap into the support of the universe and access the abundance that's available in every area of your life. Listen in for conversations and tools to create more ease, joy, and possibility with family, relationships, business, and living. Kathy's joyful perspective will help you tap into your own wisdom and create a life of presence and abundance your way. Listen live on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, or anytime on iTunes or at IOM-FM.
Welcome to Sexy Mom Abundant Life, everybody. This is Kathy Williams, and we have a really fun guest and a fun conversation today. I'm going to be speaking with Aureya Magdalen, and she is an intuitive, a teacher of all sorts of energetic practices, and a teacher of teachers. So she teaches people to tap into their own intuitive abilities and to evolve, really. And it's been my pleasure to work with her both in the psychic and healing development program called Magdalen University, which lasts 6 months, and we can definitely talk about. And as a guide in some private sessions as well, and the information I've received from Aureya is truly priceless. So we're going to share some of that on air today, and then if you want to contact her later, we'll show how you can do that as well. So welcome to the show, Aureya. I'm really delighted to have you here.
Thank you, Kathy. I'm very delighted to be with you.
We're going to talk about relationship cords, and you were actually the one who suggested that, and I know that knowing about cords has definitely helped me in my life. So before we even talk about what they are and what to do about them, like, what are some of the things you've seen people change by learning about cords and working with them?
Yeah, I would say it's mostly empowerment. It's mostly a feeling of knowing yourself. It's a feeling of not being dependent on other people. We start out in life, we want to experience being a human and being in separation, and the cords help you be in separation. They help you feel like you can't do it yourself and you need somebody else to be whole, and that's an important experience. But then we're all so happy when we start to feel all those chakras in, all those energies, really from source, meaning the earth, or our own spirit, our own soul, our own life. And so people, it's really a stage of development. It's not like good or bad to having cords. It's really like kindergarten to high school. Kindergartners aren't bad. But there's a certain point that you start to go into enlightenment and meaning that the light starts to descend deeper into yourself, and your identity shifts from your everyday patterns and personality to, more of a deeper sense of self. And during that time, people drop out the cords. They drop out those agreements for separation, agreements to experience limitation. And then usually there's a period of being kind of relatively isolated where you want to learn how to do for yourself. And so it's mostly an empowerment experience. So it can be dicey during the push and pull in the cord, yeah.
Yes, I have experienced that. So before we head in that direction too much, if someone asked you, what is a cord between two people, what is that?
it's basically a contract, a mutually agreed upon at the soul level agreement to look together. And what it looks like is a stream of light that would go, let's say you can see my throat, like out through one side or the other of the throat chakra, and it could go to somebody else's throat, or it could go to actually any chakra. And we are usually giving or receiving. Occasionally, and in particular chakras like the throat, there can be a giving cord and a receiving cord at the same time. But an individual cord is either you're giving, which is you have recently learned, let's say, how to really show up in your authentic self, and you want to practice that by helping somebody else learn. Or you recently learned how to be more compassionate with yourself, and you want to teach that, or be more clear in your thinking, or be more fluid in your emotion, or more grounded. And you want to offer that to someone else really for your learning, and of course also out of kindness and compassion for someone else. And so that's the giving. And then if you're receiving, you have experienced on some level an inadequacy, a sense of wanting to learn how to run that chakra better. And so you're receiving into that energy center, and it's waking up, and it's starting to remember itself and learn some of the frequencies that it ultimately wants to enjoy and express. And so at the beginning, we feel really wonderful. We feel just magical and like we're whole. And the beginning part is really like heaven. And then there's the rest. Yeah. Which I could just say, what happens is you start to fill in that area for the first time, and you feel so thrilled, and you feel really connected to the other person who's helping you or who you're helping. And we interpret that good feeling as love, right? Love. And so then there's a point at which we've learned enough, we've received enough, or we've given enough. We want to come back to ourselves. We want to have a feeling of independence and excitement of I can do this myself, I am strong. And so we start to not want to be receiving or giving. And then there's that part of the relationship that's confusing. Like, do you want that or not? I thought you loved that, you know? And it's like, well, I do, but could you just give me more space? And so there's a push and a pull period. And then there's a part where it starts to complete. And during that last part, instead of the energy being like full-time, like full-time going, it becomes intermittent. Like most of the time not, and then every once in a while it rehooks up. And during that period is the main confusion, because you start to feel like, oh, we don't have that connection. Does that mean we don't love each other? You have all kinds of questions about your relationship. And then there are some great tools to use to complete it. I do want to say that the old way of trying to complete it, of just kind of being harsh, imagine it being cut with a knife or something, doesn't work, because it's not made by your personality, so it cannot be completed by your personality either. It really must be completed at the soul level, because you are finished with the learning. And so the best way is to go through a process of asking yourself, what are you learning? And do you feel complete? And can you complete any fear of finishing with that person in that part? Because it's not the whole relationship, it's just a part. And then talking to them on the inner plane, to just say, I appreciate it, because gratitude completes karma. I so appreciate our learning together. And it's my time to come back to myself. It's my time to fill myself in. And so thank you. I'm asking that we complete this agreement. And doing a few little techniques of getting your energy back and helping them get their energy back is what actually completes it. It's the consciousness of completion.
That is so different from how a lot of people work with energy cords. That idea of the gratitude, that idea of, asking, what am I receiving from this? What am I giving from this? Who is the giver and who is the receiver, first off, right? And what are the lessons that are present here? And are we finished? And if not, how much time, will there be, more or less? And is there anything we can do to hasten it? Because I know that I was taught about aka cords. In Hawaiian, they're called aka cords. And I was taught about energy cords, really some time ago. And the method was not so much to sever them, which I know a lot of people try to do, just like, let me cut them, right? And but it was to energetically bring energy in and release them without actually asking for, well, what is the gift here? What is the learning? What is and having some gratitude and presence with that. So what you've shared in regard to cords has really impacted just the way I work with them. And so let's just recap a little bit. You mentioned, an example being a cord from your throat chakra to somebody else, and that may be landing in their throat chakra, but maybe going to their solar plexus or even their second chakra. So cords, tell us about, now it could get really fun. I was like, tell us about some dynamics.
I can read that.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah. So here's some possibilities. So let's say you have a lot of emotion, but in your family there was a dictum that said that we don't talk about emotion. So you might send energy from your second chakra, which is the seat of emotion, to another person's throat chakra, and they might say, well, Kathy, it seems like you might be feeling this, and when I feel that way, this or this happens for me. Is that a good description of how you're feeling? And so that would be second chakra to throat. Or let's say you had some trouble feeling kind towards yourself around having, let's say, anger or fear. And so you maybe would you'd ask on the inner planes for me to send my heart energy to your second chakra. And so then my heart energy, my compassion, my acceptance of you as an emotional person would help your second chakra to calm down and finally to allow yourself to feel. And ultimately, whatever you are asking from someone else, so let's say compassion, then ultimately what we would be trying to learn is how to send our own heart energy, right, to our own second chakra. Yeah. A typical parent-child cord is third chakra to third chakra. Let me show you how to think about something, plan something, and do it. Or first chakra to first chakra, I'd like you to have the same identity as I am. Like we, the Smiths, believe in education and athleticism, and so we share structure, the structure of identity. What haven't I talked about? The third eye, the seeing. If you really want to be seen, you might ask for somebody to give you third eye energy in your heart. Let's say you want to be seen as a good person. The crown chakra is the feeling of having somebody believe in you. I one time saw that I had a cord from one of my best men friends from his crown chakra to my first chakra. And it was like, Aureya, I've had many lives with you. I know who you are, and I really believe in you. And it was a time when I was really ungrounded. I was, going from home to home, and it really helped me to have him ground me in that way. So anyway, sex gives you a little bit of a feeling for it. I mean, I'm not really talking about the angst of it, but at the beginning it doesn't feel angsty, but then toward the end it pretty much, even no matter how beautiful it feels at the beginning, at the end we're like, excuse me, could you get out of my parking lot? I really want to feel myself, and I don't want to feel that I'm not being loving because I need my own attention, right?
Yes. So in the beginning, it sounds like, oh, wow, my reservoir is being filled. This is really great. And then later, it sounds like it's more like, your water's in my space. Get this water out of here. This isn't mine. Leave, like.
Yes. Yeah, I do a little beginning exercise for people who have lost their ability to find their emotions, and it's called feeling fish. And you imagine your second chakra is like an aquarium, and you breathe down there in the belly, and then you just ask yourself, for some feeling you've had in the last day, and then you imagine it as a fish, like what color, how does it swim, what kind of expression does it have on its face. And after you get good at that, then you ask yourself, is there anybody else's fish in your aquarium? And then we very gently pick the fish up and we put it in the aquarium. It's a very sweet beginning idea. Right?
So as we go to break, you can play with you putting any fish that aren't yours inside other. Give them back. Thanks, but no thanks. Don't need your fish. Oh, we'll be back in just a moment. Thanks for listening to Sexy Mom Abundant Life, everybody.
Feed your soul with waves of consciousness on OMTimes Radio. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Dr. Kevin here, and I want to invite you every Thursday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, to join me on the Dr. Kevin Show, where we have a diversity of guests who help you step outside the box, behind the curtain, and see what a load of crap is going on in the world today, so you have more information with which to make better decisions. We'll see you there. Namaste.
Would you like to have a life of more clarity and abundance? What's possible for you when you get out of your own way? Connect with Kathy Williams for private coaching, or join her online to transform your relationship with abundance in every area of your life with the Radical Abundance course. Kathy also travels, facilitating radical abundance and access consciousness bars and foundation around the world. She'll be in London, Hawaii, Hilton Head, and other fun locations soon. Visit www.meetkathywilliams.com for a class schedule, to connect with Kathy, or invite her to your region and get some free goodies.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone? Taking pictures?
No, I'm asking it questions.
Like what?
Hey, Bobo, do flowers have best friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, follow me. I want to show you something. Look, flowers do have best friends.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Sexy Mom Abundant Life, everyone. This is Kathy Williams, and today I'm having a conversation with Aureya Magdalen. She is the creator of Magdalen University, a school for psychic development and healing capacities, And it was my pleasure to take her course last year. It's available both online with lots of interaction. It's not just a bunch of videos that you watch. It's actually live online, do a lot of stuff, and and interact a lot and develop your psychic and healing capacities. And it's also available in Sacramento in person. So we'll talk more about that later. Today our conversation is about relationship cords, the ins and outs of cords, what you can do, first off, what they are, who they're between, and what you can do about it. And one thing that I just wanted to emphasize, and I know Aureya mentioned it slightly, is relationship cords aren't just between you and a lover, right? They can be between you and a parent, you and your child, you and your boss. Like, they can be between all sorts of relationships. And at first, as she talked about, they feel really good. And then after a while, it's like you've outgrown that, both of you, the giver and the receiver, have both outgrown it, and it feels a little bit off, and then sometimes very off, not so fun at all. So we can talk about what to do when it gets to that stage. So, Aureya, how can people start to identify cords in themselves or in another?
Yeah, well, they will feel usually people start to identify that they have a cord when it starts to not feel very good. And
go figure.
It's just like I'm in love, or I'm having a great parenting relationship, or I'm having a great boss, or right. And it feels karmic, you know. It feels like this is an important relationship. I'm learning something important here, and so then it just starts to feel cranky. It starts to feel like you're being made to do something that maybe you really don't want to be doing. So it feels like a sense of duty, or people have expectations on you. And then you start trying to define yourself and watching yourself do behavior that doesn't quite feel like you. And then you start fighting. That's usually what happens. And so when I'm asking somebody to go inside to feel a cord, the first thing I say is feel what the energy feels like when it feels good, and when you start getting kind of irritated and cranky, and where do you feel it in your body. And so then people usually, not always, but often can feel, where is that? Oh, it's in my solar plexus, or oh, you know, I feel it in my heart, or I feel it in my belly, or I feel it all over my body, might be a first chakra one. And then you ask yourself to what are you learning? What are you learning with this person? And you start to get a feeling, you might get something, and then you can ask yourself, are you giving or are you receiving? You know, it just takes some intuitive skill. It takes some practice. I have a handout on it with all these questions, and which you're welcome to text me for. I also have a CD on this if you like. So we'll share the.
Do you want to share where they can get that?
Yes, sure. You can just text me on my cell phone, and my number is 415-606-2677, 415-606-2677. So again, I have a CD on relationship cords, and I also have a 4-page handout. We're really happy to email that to you. Okay, so you start to feel a feeling of uncomfortableness, and then if you know about relationship cords, then you can just go through this process, which is really simple, of talking inwardly to the person, explaining how you feel, and that you're ready to complete it. And then you do these things that basically illuminate the cord. You can do it with consciousness. You can do it with color, you can do it with sound, and it lights it up and it makes the information pass more quickly because it's really kind of like reading a book. There's a book to read that you agreed to read together. There's an amount of information and learning that you agreed to have, and you can speed that up. And then you can begin to take your energy back into that part of you and resource yourself from your channel, from your soul or higher self, and from the earth, and from your own heart.
I'd love to give an example of this. My husband was asking some things like, "Oh, this cream smells really bad. Can I throw it away? Want to smell it?" And I was just like, "You don't need to ask me this. It's really irritating that you're asking me this, right? If it smells bad, I trust you, right? Throw it out." And different things like that, where it was like he was asking my permission for things, and I was just like, you're an adult. Stop asking me. Just do it. And we looked, and there was a cord from my third chakra giving to him, right? Where it's like, come to Kathy for what to do, essentially. And then I was over it. It's just like, dude, you're an adult, why are you asking me this? I trust you, but we still had that dynamic between us, and that's how it was showing up. And so as I started to work with that cord, it started to change.
Yes, and you felt better, and he felt better.
Yeah.
And ultimately, we are empowered because we feel like, oh, I can ask my own self what is really right action for me. Yeah.
Right. Kathy is not the boss of me. So it makes life easier on everybody. And probably in the beginning, that cord probably felt really terrific for both of us. But over time, it was just like, oh my, this is really annoying. So that's just an example of how it can start to play out, and working with it. I like to ask the questions. Okay, what am I receiving from this? What is he receiving from it, and kind of intuit that, and then like Aureya said, there are ways of using sound and color. You didn't mention color, but allowing that to dissolve and change. So can you talk about, we haven't really talked about right and left or the positions of chords.
Yeah. So if you are right hand dominant, then and right side dominant. Like there's a lot of people who are left-handed, but they're still they're right side dominant. That's their masculine side. That's the side they kind of go into action from. And then there are people who are left-handed who really are left side dominant. So anyway, it takes a little to ascertain that, but most people are right-handed, and so they're right side dominant. That's their masculine side. So that's also the side that they give from when they're making a chord. So if I had a chord from my right side, my throat chakra, it would mean that I was giving something that had to do with the truth, let's say, and showing up as authentically the true self, speaking true words. And if I was receiving, and I was right hand dominant, I'd be receiving on the left side. And then here's something that's really interesting, is that when the chord goes intermittent, it goes from full-time on, I'm learning full-time with you, let's say it's a second chakra to second chakra chord, and I'm feeling enmeshed with you and merged and bonded, and like we always feel the same thing. And we're feeling really cozy, Leslie, at the very beginning. We're feeling really cozy and warm and kind of in one body together even, it can feel. So when that has been coming, the energies have been coming back to the two individuals for a while, and the connection is only intermittent, like now and then, that cord goes to the back of the chakra. It's interesting. So if you see a cord in the back of the chakra, that means it's an old cord, or it's done most of the work that it's here to do, and now you're learning the last details of the lesson. Yeah.
Thank
you.
In
general, we don't make cords from the front of the body. Those fronts of the chakras are used for present time interactions, like, sometimes you're talking to someone and you see the same image at the same time. It's because you're sharing the images through your third eye. Lots of times teachers do that. And, we share a little heart moment with the checker at the grocery store. That's the front of the heart chakra.
So when you're present. Yeah. So tell us about this, because I know some people have questions. Do you need to know somebody in order to have a cord with them? Are cords happening just as you're passing people and they have projections or expectations or desire for you? Could you say a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. In general, we do not make cords or receive cords from people who do not matter to us, who are strangers, who we have no soul connection with. The cords are, I'd say, 99% made very consciously at a soul level to learn something with a soul mate, someone you've known before. We don't make them arbitrarily because they're so intense. We learn so much during a relationship. And I said to someone this morning, we would not agree to go through that kind of pain with someone we didn't love dearly on the higher planes. That doesn't mean that we can't experience victimization, because almost everyone who is completing a cord goes through, unless they really finished their victimization karma. But we all get into that kind of victim-y place. But let me tell you a funny story. So I was at Wilbur Hot Springs, and I saw two women friends who were there. I did not know them, but I got at that kind of tingly feeling of like, I know this person with one of them. I didn't think anything of it because, I'm used to that feeling. So then I went to bed, woke up in the morning with a dream of that person. And I could feel I'd made like a temporary cord with that person. And I asked inwardly, and we had karma, and not enough karma to have a relationship. I didn't go introduce myself. But, there was something that was from another time, and it just needed a little refresher and a hello and a bow and a thank you. And then I never thought of her again. So, those things can happen, but very rarely.
How interesting. What a fun story.
Yeah, it was. And I do want to say something that's kind of the most common cord between masculine and feminine. I won't say men and women because, it could be man, or woman, or it could be a more masculine soul and a female to a more feminine soul and a male. It could be any kind of connect. But the masculine energy from the heart is usually more even, and in a way, the masculine heart holds space. And so the masculine heart usually gives that kind of steady energy to the feminine heart. So that's a very common giving and receiving. And then the feminine heart learns to receive better and learns to feel loved on a kind of more even basis. And the feminine to the masculine most common chord is in the second chakra. It's the emotion. Because people who've had a lot of female lives, had a lot of children, nurtured a lot of people, their emotions are more fluid usually. There's more of that warmth and flow and comfortability with chaos and movement. And so the feminine energy often gives to the masculine second chakra to second chakra. And the masculine, of course, loves to get that feminine energy. And then if it's a grower person, someone who's really going to grow a lot in this life, ultimately they will learn to hold themselves with their heart and the earth and every way so that their second chakra can feel that wonderful feeling of flow and pleasure and trusting, relaxation on their own and not have to have that from a feminine energy. So I'll share that.
Thank you. Yeah, and as we go to break here in a moment, it may just be fun for people to explore, which areas do I have cords in? Who might I have cords with? And when we come back, we can talk a little bit more about your school and any other loose ends with cords. So thanks for being here with us, everybody. Sexy Mom Abundant Life will be back in just a moment.
The future of Internet radio is here. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
Would you like to have a life of more clarity and abundance? What's possible for you when you get out of your own way? Connect with Kathy Williams for private coaching or join her online to transform your relationship with abundance in every area of your life with the Radical Abundance course. Kathy also travels, facilitating radical abundance and access consciousness bars and foundation around the world. She'll be in London, Hawaii, Hilton Head, and other fun locations soon. Visit www.meetkathywilliams.com for a class schedule, to connect with Kathy, or invite her to your region and get some free goodies.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of OMTimes Magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going On? My passion is sifting through information, research, and innovations from New Thought teachers, speakers, and researchers pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics, and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Sexy Mom Abundant Life. This is Kathy Williams, and I'm having a really fun conversation about relationship cords with Aureya Magdalen. And we will say a few words. We'll chat about Aureya's school in just a moment. One thing I always say that I didn't say today is I love hearing from you. So if you have questions about a topic that we've addressed before, if you have questions about a completely different topic and have something you would love to hear, like today someone said, Kathy, I want you to talk about self-sabotage on the show. You know, that's a really cool idea. So send me your ideas, because then I don't have to think of ideas. Plus, we make it relevant to you and what you'd like to hear about. So, yes, self-sabotage will be coming. Well, maybe it's already present for you. We'll talk about ways to deal with it. The other thing is over at my website. So you can submit ideas at meetkathywilliams.com. Over there at meetkathywilliams.com, there's also a free money rain meditation and a create your life exercise, which people really seem to like. I get a lot of feedback about it. Some people saying, I listen to that every single day. So you may like to hop on over to meetkathywilliams.com to get that. And also, I just wanted to pop in your ear, coming tomorrow, I have a class called Clearing Your Projections and Expectations About Aging. And that's online. It's an hour, and if you can't be present, there's a recording. But what we found is, you know, what you think and expect can show up. And so if you expect you're going to get bad knees, just like your grandmother and just like your mother, then guess what? You know, that is facilitating it on its way. And if you're willing to let go of your points of view that your body's going to show up a certain way and your memory is going to get worse and stuff like that, well, then something totally different can show up. So that is online tomorrow. You can hop on over to meetkathywilliams.com/upcoming. And the other thing that I just wanted to say is you guys get 20% off in my shop with the code SMRadio, okay? Sexy Mom Radio, SMRadio. And there is a class that's retiring next week. I'm going to just take it off, called Help, I'm an Empath, which, again, I've gotten so much feedback from that. And people are like, yes, I am an empath. And it really helps. And there's a really short little cord release part of that exercise too, that class too. So it's over in the shop. You get 20% off with the code SMRadio. So that's it for now. Let's talk about your school, Aureya. It came into my world through Paul Douglas, who's an amazing healer himself, and he and his or at least his wife had taken your program, and I thought, oh my gosh, if Paul thinks really highly about it, and I love Paul's programs, then I better check this out. I had taken a course of Paul's called the Healing Light and Advanced Consciousness-based program twice. So I was like, well, anything Paul likes, I'm going to take a look at least. And when I hopped on over to your site and I read it, there was just something that really pulled me. And I'm so glad it did, because I loved your course, Magdalen University Online. I just felt like it was probably 2 years worth of material packed into 6 months. So I would love if you would share with our listeners, like, what inspired you to create Magdalen University, and then maybe we'll go from there.
Yeah, I've been teaching for a while, but on just, a very specific topic like relationship course. And I have been feeling and seeing, and you all have been feeling and seeing, how many of us are going into our enlightenment process. We're beginning to know ourselves at a deeper level. And so many people were recovering their intuitive skills, their clairvoyance, their clairaudience, their energy work abilities, their sound healing abilities. And since I've been doing energy work for 30 years and looking in the aura, and I'm really very profoundly psychic, I felt that I had developed a lot of tools that aren't out there and that I really wanted to share those and make another generation of healers that really had their light fully descended all the way to the earth and who had a lot of these more advanced skills. And so the program is twofold. It's learning and practicing clairvoyance, energy work, sound healing, energy work with the hands, and looking at relationship cords and past lives, and really being able to read the chakras and read what somebody's learning in any given structure that's still there. The structures are created through a need for some type of a coping mechanism, usually in childhood. It's our personality, it's our ego, and those structures sit there until they've given us the gift, and then they're ready to roll along. So you can speed up your learning process really by breathing light and by being able to start to feel more what's going on with you. And so the course takes you through your own chakras and helps you learn the skills for each one and the issues for each one. So it helps you as a person and as a healer. And then also you get to practice with a really fun community of like-minded people. Like a usual online class, I will teach a little bit, then I'll usually demo something, then people will go into breakout rooms with their partners and practice, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about it and laugh about it, and it's really pretty fun. So self-enlightenment and energy work and psychic reading for practitioners.
And by the end, I mean, there's such a toolbox full of tools. I remember us breaking out into groups to work on each other. And before we did, you said, okay, now let's list out all the different things you could do. And we were like, there's this huge list of what we can do in a session. And that includes everything from like tapping into organs and seeing what's going on, or connecting with people's guides and team, all sorts of things. It's doing just some energy work in each, the chakras that require it. Just super fun. And the people who join, I have some amazing friends from being online for 6 months with them. So, and of course, we call each other when we need it.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that everybody's still trading even after they've graduated. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool, just being able to reach out and say, hey, does anyone have 30 minutes today? I could really use it, and have people say yes, and then being able to reciprocate. So, I mean, if you feel alone out there in your woo-woo land, or you're just feeling like it's definitely a useful, really fun and useful program, and then the connections you make are amazing. So all around, our group was all around the country, so around the U.S.
Let me give my phone number one more time. If you're interested at all, please text me. Give you an interview, free, 415-606-2677, 415-606-2677.
And then the website is?
Aureya, which is AUREYA, Magdalen, MAGDALEN.life. And there's, things about my individual sessions, and then you can find information about Magdalen University in general, and then another page about the curriculum and the schedule and the fees for the online class.
Okay, cool. So it's all there at AureyaMagdalen.com. And if you could just spell that again.
Sorry, I messed it up. It's not .com. It's .life. LIFE. AURAYAMD.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I messed it up. You said it correctly. Aurayamagdalen.life. Yeah. So if you look in the radio show description on iTunes or on IOM.fm, you'll find that there as well. Or you can just Google MU online. Oh, psychic development. Yeah.
So shall we give people just a moment of checking in with themselves about their relationship?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So everybody just think of someone that you have some learning going on with, comfortable or not comfortable, and start to breathe with that relationship, that feeling, and just ask yourself, where do you feel that in your body? Where do you feel that in your body? And just breathe some light and some energy there. Good. And always good to start and end with gratitude. Even if you're so uncomfortable and feeling victimized, it's still good, even if you can only offer gratitude to your own self for this learning experience, but if possible, to offer it to the other person too. That really opens the field with a heart energy that speeds up the learning. Okay, so you can imagine now that the light is going from you, wherever you're feeling it, to the other person. When you have a little more time, you can ask, where does that energy cord go on them? But the most important thing to ask yourself is, what am I learning? What am I attempting to learn with this cord? And take whatever you get first. What am I attempting to learn? Good. So really what we're learning in the biggest picture is to be free, right? We should be able to be ourselves. So let's call some light into that area. Let's start from your own soul, your own spirit. Breathing soft, beautiful, soft white light that has all the colors in it. And very gently just breathing it in, letting that area be nourished, and then relaxing on the exhale. And you want to ask yourself for wholeness there. You want to say to yourself, my intention is to become very whole and solid and conscious and alive and loving and strong. Good. And now let's take a couple breaths from the earth. So if you imagine anything you love about the earth, the greenness, the trees, the oceans, the rivers, the animals, the birds, the flowers, whatever you love, the minerals, the rocks, the crystals, imagine that you're resourcing that beautiful energy up into your whole column, but especially the place that you're feeling some anxiousness or angst. As you're breathing that in, the same thing, that feeling of intention for self-fulfillment, for aliveness, for your own beauty, and your own offerings of service from your beauty, your talent. Very good. And let's now imagine that our energy is coming back to ourselves, and let's just send an energy of green light to the other person with wishing them the same, wishing them their own wholeness, their fulfillment, their ability to resource themselves. And we always complete a meditation with a namaste hand, because those hands bring our energy back to ourselves. And you might want to put those namaste hands or prayer hands right in front of the chakra that you are working with, and that helps to balance it with the masculine and the feminine. helps it to find itself in the core. And I'll give you one more tool, is you can start with very slow, a figure 8 energy from side to side in that chakra. And that also will create wholeness and self-dependence, independence, strength.
Thank you, Aureya. Thanks for being here with me. Check her out, everybody, AureyaMagdalen.life. And you can always contact me at meetkathywilliams.com. I'm so grateful to you for being here, Aureya. Thanks for all your wisdom. And thank you, listeners. Thanks, everybody, for being here, too. We wouldn't be here without you. Have a great week. And if you can't wait that long, all the recordings are up at iom.fm at meetkathywilliams.com/radio.